All right, let's talk about dogs. We're diving into something that, I think we all do. We believe that a dog's breed basically writes its personality. We think we know exactly what we're getting with a golden retriever compared to, say, a pit bull. But what if the science tells a totally different story? A much more fascinating one, actually.
So let's start with a classic, right? You see a golden retriever, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For almost everyone, it's friendly. We just assume that's baked into their DNA. But is it really that simple?
It's almost like a reflex, isn't it? We see a specific type of dog, and our brain just opens this little file of expectations. It's a mental shortcut. And hey, we all do it.
And these stereotypes are absolutely everywhere. You hear pit bull, you think aggressive. Poodle, you think dainty, maybe a little prissy. Border collies are geniuses, but maybe a little intense. And of course, you've got your goofy, lovable Labrador. These ideas are powerful, and we hear them all the time.
It feels true, doesn't it? We've probably all met a dog that perfectly fits its stereotype. But what does the hard evidence, the actual genetics say? How much of who a dog is can really be chalked up to its breed?
Well, luckily for us, scientists were just as curious. They put together this enormous study, sequencing the DNA from thousands upon thousands of dogs to finally get a real answer. And what they discovered is a total game changer for how we should think about our dogs.
So, after all that work, what did the data actually show? This is where everything we think we know really gets tested. Get ready for a bit of a genetic surprise.
So the big question, how much of a dog's personality can you predict from its breed alone? The answer that came back from all that genetic data was this number, just 9%.
Yeah, let that sink in for a second. 9%. All that means is that a dog's breed explains only a tiny, tiny fraction of the differences in behavior between one dog and another.
Let's look at it this way. Think of a dog's personality as this whole chart. That little sliver right there, that's the part that breed influences. The other massive chunk, 91%, is everything else. It's their environment, their training, their individual life experiences. The main thing to get here is that breed is just a tiny piece of a much, much bigger picture.
Okay, so if breed doesn't really predict personality, does that just mean genes are totally irrelevant? Not at all. It just means we've been looking at them the wrong way. So let's talk about what genes actually predict.
Here is the key difference the study found. Physical traits, oh yeah, those are absolutely tied to breed. Nobody's going to mistake a Chihuahua for a German Shepherd. That's obvious. But when you start talking about personality, you're talking about a whole different genetic story. The research did show that some specific actions or instincts have a genetic link. Things like biddability, that intense desire to work with you that you see in border collies, or a retriever's natural impulse to fetch something. Those are specific motor patterns. But the big personality traits we really care about? The science is crystal clear. Aggression is not predicted by breed. Neither is how affectionate a dog will be or its general overall friendliness. All of that is shaped by that other 91%.
Okay, so what do we do with all this? What's the big takeaway? It means we really have to start looking past the breed label and find a whole new way to see the dogs in our lives.
Let's try a new term, canine character. It's not about breed. What the science shows us is that it's this really complex blend of some genetic tendencies and, way more importantly, a dog's own unique life story.
And that leads us to the single most important lesson here. Using breed as a shortcut to guess what a dog will be like, it just doesn't work. It's a terrible predictor of the actual individual dog standing right in front of you. And look, this isn't just some fun science fact. This has huge real-world consequences. If you're picking out a new dog, it means you should focus on that dog's individual temperament, not the breed label. For shelters, it's a massive argument against rules that punish dogs just for how they look. And for all of us, it's a chance to finally push back against these unfair stereotypes that have hurt so many good dogs.
So the next time you meet a dog, what are you going to see first, the breed or the individual? The science is basically begging us to set that label aside, look that dog in the eye, and ask a much, much better question. Who are you? Because that's where you'll find their true character.